Okay, this is section 10.1. We're going to be covering the Cartesian coordinate system. This is just the name Cartesian comes from a famous French mathematician who came up with the system. Sometimes the system is referred to as the rectangular coordinate system, and it allows us to plot the relationship between ordered pairs. The second section gives you some equations, talks about what an ordered pair is, what it means to be a solution or satisfies, and then it says the order of numbers in an ordered pair. So that's critical. So that's what we're going to talk about next, the order. Generally, or always, it's in alphabetical order. X comes before Y, if you were to say the alphabet. And so the first coordinate is the X. So that's what it's saying here. X is the first coordinate. Y is the second. Goes in order. So when you see an ordered pair, two numbers together, the first one is X, the second one is Y, and that's always going to be the case. In this ordered pair, we're going to plug in 2 to this given equation here at the beginning. And we have 2x, so we're saying x is 2 from here. Go to the next line. If you plug in a 2, they do 2 times 2, and you get 4 plus 3, you get 7. And so when x is 2, you get y is 7. So this ordered pair 2, 7, it says satisfies the equation or is a solution. Here you have a table that shows you several more examples, which you'll do this a number of times throughout this section. You'll be given x and you'll plug it in to find a y value, or you may be given a y value and you plug that in to find the x. Either way, you'll come up with some ordered pair, and we just kind of want you to practice on being able to find that and list them in the proper order. Also, x is called the independent variable and y is called the dependent variable. There is another set of names that we use to identify x and y. So I'll kind of list those here for you. I was given this illustration a little while ago. Acronym Dixie, D-I-X-I, for the x variable, and then Roydy, R-O-Y-D. Roydy. D stands for domain. R stands for range. I stands for input. O stands for output. X is the variable that we're referring to, and over here Y is the variable that these words are referring to. And then lastly is independent. And dependent. Okay, all of these generally go in alphabetical order except for the last one. So domain and range, there are counterparts. Domain is referring to X, range is referring to Y. D comes before R in the alphabet, and so this X comes before Y. Input and output, again referring to X and Y. I comes before O in the alphabet, and I referring to X, input, and output referring to Y. Independent and dependent, these are the only ones that are reversed. Independent is referring to X, dependent referring to Y, but D comes before I. So the last ones are reversed. Everything else goes in order. So if you see these names, domain, input, independent, they're referring to X. Range, output, dependent, they are referring to Y. Okay, so again, here's some more equations that are just showing you, giving you the input, the independent variable, plugging it in for the independent variable, T, and getting the dependent variable out. Several examples here. Okay, so this is the Cartesian coordinate system, it's important to note the quadrants and when each of the coordinates is positive or negative. So starting from the upper right hand corner, you see a number 1, Roman numeral 1. That's the first quadrant, and it goes counterclockwise, so to the left and around. So quadrant 1, both coordinates are positive, and they show you an example here, positive 4, positive 2. In the second quadrant, going to the left, so the origin, important to note, this is the very center, 0, 0. And to the left of that, we go to the negative side, so x is negative, y is still positive, still above 0, so that's quadrant 2. Quadrant 3 below it, both ordered pairs are negative, both coordinates are negative. And then in the right, quadrant 4, we have the x coordinate positive and the y coordinate negative. And then across here you just have ordered pairs that are giving you some examples of those. So one-to-one correspondence between points in a plane and ordered pairs of real numbers, which means there is each one is getting one, each one input is getting one output. And then here we're just showing you what points are in which quadrant, and you'll have to pick that out and also plot them in practice. It says most of the examples we're going to be using integers, so whole numbers, because it's easier, better to locate them. Sometimes you will have fractions or rational expressions. They'll have a little difficulty, but you can still do it. You'll kind of see it when we do it. Okay, so here's some examples here that they give you. You kind of look over those. There's some more. Plotting points, picking out which one is in which quadrant. Finding ordered pairs that satisfy the solution, so they'll give you some number to plug in, either x or y, and you find the other. Here's a table of that. We'll do our own examples here shortly in Hawk. Here's one that's showing you different values of x or y. So these first two give you an x value, the second two give you a y value. So what they want you to do is plug in x for these and find the y value, and then over here you're going to plug in y and find the x value, which we'll do that here shortly. Here it is in the table. So again, they're giving you these x values. You find the corresponding y values, and vice versa. They give you y, you find x. And they show you their examples here. You have some more examples that they give you to look at. And then identifying points on the line. So we might even plot some lines, and we want you to identify some points. Most of the time, or what you want to do when you do that, is you want to look at the point where the line goes right through the corner of one of these little boxes. This grid is made up of several little boxes. And so over 1 and up 2, this ordered pair would be positive 1 in the x direction and then positive 2 in the y direction. So you want to find a point or label it based on the corner that it goes to, so some box. Find that and then you'll label a point that way. Okay, so with that, let's jump into Hawks and do some examples.